Hey everybody, what is up? This is Breaking the Cage, Astrology TV. And you know me, I'm going to post it out to my page real fast as we get going here. Let me turn the volume down. Have just 1 second here. Get it posted out to my page, like I said. This is, it's such a powerful time. It's such a powerful and a beautiful time, even though it may not necessarily feel that way. Because I was, dealing with spirit here just a little bit right before I came in to do the show tonight, burning my incense. And last week when I was doing it, I was saying that it's kind of like the battle of the kingdom. But that the kingdom, because we're going through the solar eclipse, we went through that today. So you are fully in eclipse season. Now, this week is definitely for October 15th through the 21st, but I'm kind of speaking on the whole month here right now. Back to just from the 15th through the 21st, because of what Spirit was giving me. I was saying how it was like the battle of the kingdom and having us really understand what the kingdom is. And we're in such a powerful yet delicate moment in time, a very fragile moment that's, like I said, so powerful of what the battle of that is. And Spirit is just beautiful the way that they show us things, because what they were giving me as I was coming into starting this show is one of the Indiana Jones movies, and I can't remember the name of them or which one it was, and I think it was for the Grail in the Indiana Jones, and I don't know if I have the right wording, because I was hearing it right as I was coming in to sit down to do the show. And anyway, they're getting ready to go where they're getting ready to find the cup. And what I'm hearing is only the penitent man will pass. But then they're showing me in the movie how it was the carpenter's cup. It was the carpenter's cup that was the Grail, I believe it was. Like I said, I'm a little confused as to which movie the name was, getting the right one. But the point was, this is truly about getting right with soul, getting right with depth of soul, getting right with who you are, with who your authenticity is, with like what they're trying to get at is being real. In the movie, it wasn't about the glitz. It wasn't about the gold cup, the gold chalice. It wasn't the gold chalice. It was the carpenter chalice. It was the one that was made by the man, by the heart, by the soul, by the true character, by the skill. This is where we're at. We're learning how to come into the skill of oneness, the skill of authenticity, the skill of source within ourselves. And like I said, it's a very powerful and pivotal time of our shift during this eclipse season. However, what they're reminding me is, really, no matter how much I'm going to say to you about the whole rest of the astrology, the blueprint, and everything else, it's coming down to oneness is not selfishness. Oneness is teamwork. Oneness is when you're coming into your power. When you're coming into your power, I say all the time, you have got to be able to control your inner chaos if you're ever going to harness your power. This is everything that's going on inside and outside of you. Being able to be calm within the storm. But as you're pulling in that power, it's not just about you. It's about pulling all the energy, all of the life form, all of the source energy, and that is oneness. And as we're moving forward, this has to do with us coming into a higher level of spiritual maturity so that we're capable of harnessing this. Because it is a battle of the kingdom, especially as we get towards that full moon eclipse at the end of the month. We've been setting up for this since the last full moon, even though technically it wasn't eclipse season. And as I try to drive us through this, it's battle of the kingdom, the higher kingdom, the source energy, the oneness, being able to tap into that, being able to tap into your divine right of power, your divine right of living, your divine right of breath itself, of existence, and that nobody, nowhere is capable of taking that from you. However, you've got to be tapped in. You can't get caught in any of that lower vibrations because that's going to pull you back right now. And a lot of this energy has everything to do with the 6th and the 7th house. It has to do with your daily operations, so to speak, versus your relationships, versus your character and your ability to be in your own power or to be swayed and to possibly lend your power in the wrong way. Spirit is reminding me that a lot of this, even though it is in this week's astrology, it's not the only thing in the astrology, but they keep giving me Pholos, which is a centaur. It's another one of, the additional planetary energies that most astrologers do not talk about. And when they speak of Pholos to me, they literally give me it as full loss. Hold on one second. And that's what a lot of this energy is. A lot of this energy is spiritual maturity. Spiritual maturity within our relationships with ourselves and others. Our ability to stand strong, truly in that power, without taking it from someone else, pushing someone else around to get it, but to know it was always yours and that it can't be taken from you, versus full loss, versus the energies of the lower vibrational energies of jealousy, inferiority, inadequacy, helplessness, feeling like you have to look out for number one. It's all about me first energy. Because that's where you're going to lose it. That lower vibration getting us into the paranoia of that lower vibration. There is no you, there is all. There is the oneness, there is the source. When you're tapped in to that divine power, that divine right, you are pulling from all walks of life, all ways, everywhere that ever have and will exist. Coming truly back to source, the spark. Not in that paranoia of, okay, I got to take care of me before I worry about anybody else. Because this is about us, looking out for one another, yet at the same time, not losing your power. Because as we come into that next eclipse at the end of the month, right there at Sun or Halloween, that is going to be taking place in Taurus, smack dab sandwiched in between Jupiter and Uranus, which are both in retrograde. Jupiter is bringing abundance and higher knowledge into that Taurus energy. Uranus is not the strongest here, but it's speaking to us about our independence, our individuality, our uniqueness, our freedom, our ability to stand in our power versus the animal in the cage who has to me first attack because you're really not in your power, but you're in that fear. This is about liberation versus being possession. And what do you possess? Do you possess the power and energy of your life? Do you possess, you know, the ability to manifest and create and to be tapped into that source? Or is somebody else or something else possessing your power and your energy? Like I've been saying for the last 3 years, and I really don't want to say this, but this is when you're going to start seeing, I mean, like the war. This is where you're going to start seeing so much more of just me, 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 me. I don't care who I hurt. This is where you're going to start seeing as you come closer to this eclipse, for those who are not in that power, who have allowed themselves to become the possession of the other. This is where you're going to see so much more spousal abuse. And literally just revenge and hurting people because of the need to be in that power versus being in that power. When you're in that power, it's one of the, there's nothing to fear. So when you have nothing to fear, you're tapped into source energy. You actually become one of the most dangerous things because they got nothing they can take from you. Because you, this is why I've said, if you guys have listened to my shows with Matt before, when I've come on and I've had to deal with demonic energies and so forth, I will tap into the fact of, oh, I am you too. I am everything that is good. I am everything that is bad. You can't take anything from me because I am of all. This makes you dangerous. There's nothing left to fear. There's nothing left to take. But there's also no need to threaten. There's no need to attack because you're unfucking touchable. This is that divine right, that divine essence, that divine authority of knowing that I stand in my power and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. And you will see those who are not in that power, or those who are attacking to take the power away from others, is going to become worse. Because like I said, this is about liberation. About moving up in vibration. This is about moving into higher dimensional energies and knowing if you're in the proper spirit power, or if you're getting clobbered or the lower vibrations that make you doubt, that put you back into that me first, me, because I have to look out for me because ain't nobody else in this flipping world gonna look out for me. That's what they're hoping. That's what they're wanting to make you play off of each other and keep lowering that vibration. And that's what they're gonna push at you. Anybody who's not in this power as we come through this entire month. And I'm telling you exactly where you need to be in order to overcome this energy. Not to mention, like I said, that next eclipse at the end of the month is going to be sandwiched in between Jupiter, bringing all of the higher abundance and knowledge in. But are you using it, or is your competitor using it, or the one who is trying to possess you or take power from you? versus independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, liberation, the source of the possession of your soul energy. Your source energy. Have you lended it? And it is going to be directly at the end of the month having a computer. That talks about getting out of the hive mind right there. The fact that I would even slip up and say that. This is saying that it is speaking to you in that 8th house of being able to resurrect, rebirth, regenerate, and where the sun will be, where Mercury will be, where Mars will be, where Sirius will be. Your power, your warrior, your neglecting energies of that rebirth thing into that sun energy of rebirthing instead of it being ego birthing. So you're looking at truly the abundance being yours, or handing that abundance and that power and prosperity and growth and possession to yourself, or giving it away. This is an incredibly delicate but beautiful time for those of you who can slow your mind, tap into the source energy, tap into nothing can be taken from me if I do not give that right. And that divine soul right is yours. And this is all about taking our power back and changing the way this planet looks. Like I said, this is definitely talking about your 6th house and your 7th house as we go through the month. Technically, your 6th, 7th, and 8th house as we go through the month. Because when I look at the astrology, really all I can see is everything just pointing at them. And then the opposition of them is that 1st and 2nd house, which is the way your mind is thinking, the way you're able to speak it, as well as the zeal point, way the brain is working, and how it is tapping into the spinal cord, sending the signals up and down the chakras directly into the solar plexus, the root chakra, and the sacral chakra. The relationships here versus how you feel and security. I've said a million times, I don't know why it keeps tapping out, but I've said a million times, one of the problems that so many people, when they're working on chakra energy, have a problem with is they set their chakra energy. They set that root chakra, which in one form you do have to set it in the 3-dimensional. They set it in the fact of, you know, what is tangible, what you can see, what you can feel. Therefore, you can believe in that. They set it in what it just keeps disappearing. They set that in the 3-dimensional. I don't know why it keeps doing that. They said that 3-dimensional that you have, but that is for the 3-dimensional world. Sorry about that. Let me back up and start over here again. So what I'm saying is they, like I said, I think this is because they know I'm tapping into something important here. When you are setting your root chakras, your safety, your security, your fight and flight in the three-dimensional world, you are tapping into, I need food, I need a roof over my head, I need security, I need to be warm. You are tapping into the three-dimensional idea of what is still that hive mind. When you are truly connected to source, you know that you are everlasting. Yes, here in the three-dimensional world, we do need the food. We do need those things. But when we're tapping into the higher dimensional energies, we can bring that source of everything into us because we are connected to us. And you cannot take that from me. I have that damn divine right and power to take that and to manipulate it just like they're manipulating against you. Just like all of that energy that's trying to keep you from rising. You are the most powerful source because you have a soul. And if you can tap into that higher dimensional energy, you are everlasting. And with that everlasting source means I can connect to all forms of energy, positive or negative. It's my choice. Within my own chaos, divining my own harnessing of my power, and what will I bring to me, and therefore I am secure in every lifetime. You cannot take that right from me. You cannot take that power from me, and you cannot make me feel insecure. This is tapping in. This is truly coming into your power. And then you bring that back to the three-dimensional world. And with that three-dimensional world, you bring it into tangible reality. This is source energy, using it, tapping in and harnessing it. And remember, it's not about me, 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 me. It's about borrowing everything because we are all connected. And as we move into that energy, we start to realize how to manipulate it for a higher vibrational energy, how to manipulate it to work for ourselves as well as others in service of others, instead of the hive mind of having to be in the paranoia, fear, jealousy, inadequacy, inferiority, helplessness. We're tapping away from that. We're tapping back into security and building that root chakra from that higher dimensional energy, borrowing it, bringing it back, and putting it here in the 3D, and then saying, fuck you to everybody who's trying to take it from you. I am reclaiming my power. And that is what I want to see you all do. In that 6th and 7th house, that has everything to do with us going from that head and that zeal point energy through the spine, truly circulating that flow of energy as they come into the blueprint here. Like I was saying, the Chiron energy, which is in Aries right now, it is technically on the spinal cord, right where it is attaching to the zeal point, right where it is attaching to all of the nerves and the connection of all of the brain functions. And what the brain's signals is sending down the spinal cord all the way through to the bottom of your feet and all the way back up as it crosses the backdoor chakras. Because that's the key here. It's not the front chakras, is what can be slipped in the back. It is the power of that thymus, the zeal point, your Ming Meng chakra, not just the sacral chakra, the spleen chakra, which is on both sides. We are talking about serious sacred energy and the flow, and making sure that flow is well versus what we're tapping into, hive mind or source mind. And that Chiron energy is going straight down through Jupiter, hitting the neck nerves, going literally into the spinal cord again. This is coming into your zeal point and your throat, your ability to manifest, speak, and create, your ability to communicate, to express, and how and what it is you're expressing. Then it goes on to Uranus. This is sinuses. Sinuses are showing you where it is either clogged up or you're unclogging according to flu type symptoms, the spiritual flu. As we're moving through your ability to tap into your power versus being possessed by the source mind. Not the source mind, the hive mind. As you come further down, I've been talking about Vista being in Cancer for the last couple weeks. It is literally still on the respiration. It is still literally on the bottom parts that is protecting the cage around. It's your breathing. It is your rib cage. It is protecting that heart. It is also speaking to you about your blood pH, your ability to upgrade and downgrade within what you are breathing in and how it is that you are on levels of the blood pH versus your oxygen and your carbon dioxide. How is being shifted and directed and pulled out of you, the healthiness versus the toxicness. It is as we come into Juno, technically Juno, Lilith, and Venus. Juno is still in Leo. It is going to be moving in to Virgo with Lilith and Venus this week, but it is on the very lowest part of that rib cage, and then it's moving into the intestines, the colon, the appendix, your stomach energies, digestion. Again, this is speaking about what are you digesting? What are you seeing? What are you pulling in? What are you creating in your matrix? What are you bringing into your body, your essence, your spark? Where are you on that vibrational scale? What are you digesting, and what is the waste that you are actually sending out of you? Digestion. It's not just food, it's energy, people. As you move into that 7th house, where we've just had the eclipse, versus where the next eclipse is going to be in opposition of. Well, technically, it'll be in opposition in Scorpio. But all of this energy mainly is moving into Scorpio. It's going to be Pallas, Mercury, the Sun, South Node. This is all sitting on the bladder, all sitting on the kidneys, all sitting on that solar plex. The sacral chakra, your circulation, the natural flow. Are you having blockages? Is it time for a spiritual energy tune-up? Because for many people, it is. And knowing how and what to do with that. You can always see me or contact me, and I can help you find people in your area, or I could do it myself. But, for some of you, you need that help. Others, you know how to tap into that spiritual tune-up. And for some of you, that's what this is right now. Slow down, slow your groove, and get that tune-up. Because I also pulled tarot cards, which I will talk about right before I go into the actual astrology this week. But this is the circulation of the energy versus what waste is being removed. And how that is either helping you upgrade or downgrade. As you come into Mars, which is now in Scorpio, this is getting into your private parts. But this is technically, even though it's the private parts, it's speaking to you literally about rebirth. I was saying that energy, I kept posting right before the eclipse. I was like, the eclipse energy is connecting with the mind, going all the way down to the sacral chakra. And its connection is also connecting to the hips. It has everything to do with stomach energy, with how we are removing the energy, how we are, being able to transform within the energy and its connection to the lower chakras. I cannot say enough times how you have got to start paying attention to the lower chakras. The lower chakras are telling you everything about what you are not tapping into from the ego, because we like to ignore ego. And that's not shadow work. That's not how you rise. You don't rise by ignoring ego. You rise by accepting it, acknowledging it, forgiving it. working past it. And if you're not channeling and paying attention to it, you're avoiding it, and then you're in full-on denial, and you're building a false security, a false foundation. Before I get into the astrology for the week, I was looking over at some of my tarot cards, and I had a deck that basically was like, yo, me. So I pulled it. The first card that came up today, this is from my Tai Ching deck, is 57, the Gentle. This speaks to you about penetrating and dispersing, about penetrating your energy and bringing something new in. But it's speaking about being gentle with yourself as you're doing it. It is the soft approach within yourself, acceptance, love. Take time for yourself, for meditation. Don't be bullied and manipulated into, I gotta do. No. You have to love you. You have to take care of you. If you aren't being good to you, you're no good to anyone else. Period. And we have to sometimes get a smack in the face and remind ourselves that we have to slow down and love ourselves in order to get right, because we can't be of service to anything on this planet if we're not being of service to ourselves. Now, this is where that me first energy versus true love and narcissistic energy starts to really find a fine line. Again, you must love yourself enough to be able to be good enough to love others. It's not about me, and what can I do for me? It's about making sure that what you are, I say it all the time, you cannot give from a well water when the freaking well is empty. This is making sure that you still have a well that you can pull from. It is speaking to us of faith and moderation, giving yourself moderation here, loving yourself enough to get to the other side. It is a deep influence of understanding and non-violence, the gentle. It speaks of the need of the wind, the flow. Gentle flow. The next thing is being receptive, being able to harness the information when you're receiving it, to be able to tap in and acknowledge it. I can't say a million times, you've heard it before, how your spirit guides can be over here on this side being like, hey, your spirit guides, your gods, your ancestors, however you want to see it, be like, hey, over here, I'm helping you. But no, I'm too busy looking that way because it has to be over here. I need the answers to be coming from this side. I can only believe that they're coming over here, and your guides are like, how many times you go, hello, but nobody's paying attention. Being receptive. And it's speaking to you about yielding in order to receive the principle. It is being devoted and patient, supportive, obedient enough for the responsive energy. It's your intuitive energy, your earthing energy, it's in the belly. Look good here. This is like a pregnancy. This is still the womb. Understand, this whole month is still, I've been saying this since what, 6 months now, that even Beelzebub came in and said, this is the chrysalis. It's like the baby in the womb. This energy is not yet ready to be birthed. This is still the molding of the true coming back into your source energy, or will you lose it? It's in the womb. You're still learning. This is why it's important to be gentle. You're still a baby learning spiritual maturity, learning how to grow into that divine spark and how to use it properly. Next is development. Again, you're learning how to do what you were brought back here to do. So cut yourself some freaking slack, but don't give up. Keep pushing through the trenches and start tapping in. That's what this is all coming down to. It's very important time, but a very delicate time. Now, as you go through this week, it's specifically from the 15th through the 21st. It is not all the time that you have a yod in astrology, and you have a yod all week long. A yod in astrology is like the finger of God. Like the moment God put his tapped here, this is what I'm creating. Here's my divine spark, and you have it written all over this week. But you can wait until I have some of my coffee. Which means that's an incredible, powerful energy to tap into right now. Whenever the yod is pointing at is where the power is going. It is pointing at that 7th house of relationships. And like I said, this is truly spiritual maturity within these relationships. Source maturity. Tapping into how are you of service to yourself and others? And is the tribes that you're a part of good for you? That's what these relationships are. Are they rebirthing? Are they capable of it? Are we regenerating? Where are we going with these? Are they filled with jealousy, inadequacy, inferiority, helplessness? How are you truly feeling here? You have this energy is literally going to the sun, the south node, and Mercury as it approaches. The proper communication, the illumination, whether it's good or bad. The illumination, the sun is your character. But it's also in that 7th house, speaking about relationships, speaking about, they just said the divine right within balance, within your yin and yang, within harmony, balance, and justice. And I can't say enough times in Libra energy, it is not about standing back and making balance and harmony in places where it's not meant to be. If it's not there, it needs to be called out. If the harmony, the balance, and the justice is not there, it's not about let me sit back and make sure that you're happy and you're happy and you're happy. No, it's about calling out where it's out of balance so that you can find out if you can create balance. And most of the time in Libra energy, it shows you where it's out of balance. This is tapping into your own character, but into the illumination of the entire idea of the relationship with yourself as well as with the world around you. How you're communicating versus comfort zones, and where is it you're not growing because you're comfortable here because you know it too well. It is speaking directly with Neptune in that 12th house, giving you the ability to create the healthy or to continue to lie to yourself and stay in that very same circulation, but it's also speaking to Uranus. So this is either saying you're in your power or you're going to threaten to take your power, which really isn't power. This is why I said it was speaking to Neptune first, because Neptune has the ability to give it the idea of the magical. I can't even think of the proper word. The magical idea of the fact that it would be happening. It's illusion and delusion. So this is truly being able. Deception is what they just said. So is it deception being played on you that you're in the true tribe, that you're being manipulated to help somebody else branch forward, or is it truly balanced? This yod energy is the finger of God, tapping into true tribal energy. Is this your tribe or not? Is this truly source energy that you're with? Is this truly of service to of everyone? And it's speaking to you about if you are able to come into your power or if you're being manipulated. The magic right there is, are you creating the magic? Or are you playing with the manipulation because you're comfortable with it all week long. Then you have Uranus, which is getting along great with the North Node and Eris in the first house. The North Node is everything you need to learn in order to move forward, but it's in Aries, sitting on top of Eris. Trouble, toil, discord. This is that me first energy. This is vampire syndrome. This is I can't I have to still point the finger at this because this is what screwed me over and this is why I can't let it go. So I'm going to be resentful. I'm going to be spiteful. Lower vibrations here versus acting on impulse versus I'm in my power. I will not be shaken. I will not be knocked off my power where someone else could take it from me because I got shaken. Uranus, your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom versus your mouth, your actions, your quick actions coming into the fire. Are you in your fire or are you just in fire? The impulse, the emotional impulse. And it is speaking again with Neptune. How much spiritual maturity and harnessing of being able to pull the power of everything to you are you in? Are you in me, right freaking here now? And then I'll deal with it afterwards because that shit's going to backfire, even though it may feel right at the moment. You have a chain reaction of very positive energy between that Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn, but you've had that for almost 2 months now. This is saying you could be further ahead. We could all be further ahead, but we're having problems breaking away from that hive mind because that's what we were programmed to do. I cannot say enough times, the human body on the outside of the body is a positive influence. On the inside of the body, it is a negative energy. So once that energy gets in, energy likes energy. Manifestation works with energy being with like energy. So we are programmed to be negative on the inside. This is why we are programmed to screw ourselves over and self-sabotage so much. And we're learning to break this chain, to reprogram. We could be so much further ahead if we were spiritually mature enough to break this program, which is what we are doing. But this is exactly why I said that I've been saying, Spirit has been saying for freaking months now, that we are in the chrysalis. We are in the womb. We're learning how to reprogram. We're learning how to recreate that power. We're tapping into that magical energy of Neptune and creating fantasy into actual reality. Tapping it into Pluto, the outer world, and tapping it into Saturn energy. Rules, walls, boundaries, making the change. You have to just keep getting up and trying again. The energy's there. It's us harnessing it right. You have Juno, which is commitment. It is speaking to you of the Sun, Mercury, and that South Node in that relationship. It means taking the commitment of creating and the time and believing. And how are you molding it? What are you molding? If you're taking the time and the sacrifice and the commitment to making what you want, then you're going to. But it means actually paying attention to what you are doing. That means slowing down and being able to realize what you are doing. Looking at the long road here. Venus and Mars are getting along great. 6th house and the 8th house. How is it rebirthing? Masculine and feminine, yin, yang. But that 6th house is your daily routines, your daily mundane tasks, your energy diet. So it's sensitive right now. It is definitely speaking to you about what is uncomfortable and what is. Pay attention to what your body is telling you. You have Jupiter versus Venus, which are getting along great. This is great opportunities, great abilities to tap into more comfortable energy and continue to create it. Jupiter in that second house is speaking to you about your soul possession, your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, your liberation of manifesting from that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, from that source energy, from undeniable truth. You cannot take that from me. It is mine. It's not even that I've earned it. It's that I am it. So nah. And speaking with Venus in that sixth house, your energy diet, your people, places, things. What are you a part of? What do you allow to have access to you? Your Venus is going to be telling you if it's good for you or not, and what to continue to harness and what to drop. Juno and Lilith, as it comes through the fifth house, Juno does, and into the sixth house, is communicating with Pholos. They're in the 10th house of Capricorn, the outer world. Where will you have full loss? Where are you believing the bullshit versus truly standing in your power and going, no, 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 no. Like I said, Pholos is the full loss. It is also considered the curse. Where are you still falling for the matrix? Where are you still falling for the hive mind? Where are you still falling for the authority of the outer world taking its power versus you being able to tap into source energy and go, no, I am everything. I am even you. So there. You only have power when I give it. This is your divine right, your divine source, your divine energy of your energy diet. What are you pulling in and what are you allowing to come out through the heart chakra? What are you allowing to explode through you as you tap into everlasting? And it is speaking again with that North Node and Eris. Are you tapping into the negatives? Are you tapping into trouble, toil, strife, and justice? Because that's that lower vibration. That's, like I was saying right in the beginning, that's fear, inadequacy, helplessness, me first because nobody gives a damn about me except for me. When you believe that, then nobody does give a damn about you. But when you're tapping into, I am of everything, of all time, of all existence, for here and now and there and ever, blah, because I am source, then that helps you come into slow down, have patience, rebuild, back build that character, that power from within. And where are you taking that energy? Where is you taking that energy diet and what are you doing with it? Who are you allowing to have access to you? And are you giving them access to taking away your power? This is simply slow down and reclaim. Not slow down and attack, because you don't have to attack. I have been saying for 5 years now, and if you've been following me for any amount of time, y'all know that I deal with a lot of the death gods. Y'all know that I deal with the Grim Reaper. And Grim is forever telling me, you are brimstone. You are sulfur. And you know what that is? When in the Bible, for those of you who follow the Bible, brimstone is used to erase. So I'm giving you a very powerful connection here. When you are tapping into that source energy, if you don't like it, erase it. You only exist when I give you power, to have power, to exist, to cause me problem. If I don't believe in you and I don't continue to listen to you and deal with you, then I won't have to tolerate this. This is about tapping in to that energy and going, no more full loss in the outer world and that society that is part of me and the jobs and the careers and the commitments, the authority of the outer world. The authority only has that power when you give it that power. If you don't want it to be that way, erase it and rebuild it. It sounds harder than it really is, but that has to do with your spiritual maturity. Now you've got Pluto, which is getting along great with Uranus, tapping into that power. If you're the one tapping into the power, Pluto is that outer world. It is the authority of the outer world. Pluto is giving you the ability to create your authority. But if you're not creating it, you had better believe it'll go the other direction, and that outer authority will create the world around you. Are you tapping in? Then you have Saturn, which is no longer in Pisces. It's gone back into Aquarius, which makes it want to try new things. I disagreed with half the astrologers. Saturn in Aquarius is more of, let me try something new. It's a little bit more open, a little bit more curious, a little bit more shifting of those boundaries. And it's talking directly with the sun, the South Node, and Mercury, and even Mars, giving you the opportunities of testing those waters. So what if you fall? You get back up. That's simple. This is taking the ability to tap into the tribe, the correct tribe, adjust things, and keep on rolling with the punches, and making sure that it's working for you, not against you. Saturn is rules, walls, and boundaries. In the 11th house, which directly puts it with, is it in harmony with your dreams, your goals, and your ambitions? Or are you being manipulated by the people who are standing in the way of the dreams, the goals, and the ambitions? Everything is here for you to see. Just are you willing to see it? You have incredibly unpredictable energies. Some unpredictable energies is this Neptune, which is speaking directly with Mars. This is your 12th house and the 8th house. Mars is the warrior in the 8th house, which is somewhat like that Pluto energy. 8th house is the rules, the walls, the boundaries of the relationship, of rebirth, resurrection, renewal, in a form of the death card or even the tower. This is the ability to spin the magic on something brand new and breathe life into it. They just gave me a dragon. Breathe life into it. Or do I just hold on to what I've always known? Unpredictable energy means it can go either way. It's your free will choice as to what you will do. You have Chiron in that 1st house, which is getting along great with Venus in the 6th house. Your energy diet. What has access to you? And are you comfortable in your uncomfortability? Because if you're comfortable in that uncomfortability, there will be no change. But if you're starting to tap into where you're comfortable in that uncomfortability, you can make the change. Chiron is the wounded healer, so it's going to challenge you. Then you have Pluto, which is getting along great with that Juno and that Lilith, as Juno moves out of the heart, out of that creative energy and the heart space, and into that energy diet again. All of this means, what do you give access to? What has access to you, and how much power are you giving it to have access to? Plain and simple. It's up to you. Are you in your divine source energy or not? Challenging this week, going through that Yod energy, where I was saying that Yod energy is the Sun, Mercury, and that North Node, speaking with Uranus and speaking with Neptune. your ability to tap into the tribe, into the communication with yourself, into the communication with source, and rebuild what's going against it. Smack dab in the center here is Chiron, that north node, and that sun and Mercury. They are not getting along. This is going directly from Chiron, the first house, the north node, learning how to be patient and know yourself, versus that sun, meaning, do I have to have what I need to have, and I need to have it right fucking now? I need what I need, and I need it right now. And then I'll answer it later for what I've done. No. You're going to be tested. You're going to want to rage. You're going to want to speak up. You're going to want to be like, I'm taking my power back. But that is freak out of paranoia. That is not truly power. There's your question. There's your test. There's your spiritual maturity versus fear, inadequacy, helplessness. You also have Pluto, which is not getting along with that sun, that south node, and that Mercury. This is all about being paranoid about letting that outer world have even an inch of justice, an inch of power over you, because you're believing in its power. Stop. Slow down. Then you have the sun, and that Mercury and that south node is fighting with that Juno and that Lilith, that source energy, that power of creativity, as it comes into your energy diet, as it comes into your daily mundane tasks, as it comes into what you allow this world to have connection to you, what is allowed to be connected to you. Plain and simple. I keep saying it over and over and over again. Your source, your spark, your fire versus your daily routines. Are you being manipulated? What has access to you? And is it good for you? Or do you need to shift that or cut it off? Attachments. You were never supposed to have attachments to anything. We want so much to be connected, to communicate, to be touched, to be loved. And that's a good thing. But are we attached to things that are not good for us? There's your key right there. If it's an attachment, this is saying that's something different. That's not what you really truly are wanting. Attachments are something you are not supposed to have. You are source. You are divine essence. You are connected to all things. And you don't get your power from one thing. You get your power from pulling all of divine right essence, infinity, not one thing. You have Saturn versus Venus. Venus, and then it's speaking to Lilith and Juno. Then it's speaking to Chiron and South Node. So this is right off the bat. Where are you going to adjust these relationships for rebirth or not? For being able to communicate and be attached to you versus how you're going to communicate and think about it. This all has to do with, are you in hive mind or in your source? Then you have Pholos. Again, in that 12th house, the outer authority, full loss. Holding on to the curse versus the true ancestral healing. And going into Jupiter in that first house. Sorry, second house. And self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, power, or manipulated. Possession over you and power to manifest and create. Or is someone else feeding off of your energy? Then you have Pluto, the South Node, and the Sun, and Venus. Again, that outer world, the relationship, and what has access to you. Venus this week is going to be telling you if it is uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable, it's not that necessarily it's wrong. Tap into. A lot of people misunderstand the gut feeling. Is it because you're afraid to make changes that the gut feeling is giving you the wrong feeling? Or is it uncomfortability, but you're comfortable in your uncomfortability because you know it? Venus is going to be testing you in that energy diet. She's going to be showing you what is uncomfortable. What will you do with it? Are you spiritually mature enough to actually borrow from the infinity? Or do you have to have what you have to have right now? Either way, you're in the womb. This is all about where you're taking your next 6 months. So use you wisely. I love you guys.